James Parsons won a Nuffield Scholarship in 2008, after which he was keen to find a way to contribute to the red meat sector, in particular the red meat and wool supply chains. In March this year, he was appointed chair of Beef+Lamb New Zealand, the youngest ever to be appointed to that role. We caught up with him on his Northland property.
I grew up in the far north. It was farming in North Hokianga. I purchased the family farm off my father in 2001. So my wife and I sold that in 2013 and shifted down to this region and purchased this farm in partnership with my brother and a family friend. So essentially we wanted to create a strong financial base that we could go into it, be sufficiently capitalised and also look at expansion opportunities moving forward. I'm also chairman of Beef+Lamb New Zealand, and that requires 3 to 4 days a week of of my time. So just I really enjoy farming well, and so trying to do that part time just doesn't fit. So we wanted to make sure we had a really competent farm manager, someone who could look after day-to-day operational activities. And also with a Coopworth sheep stud here, there's a lot of performance recording, a lot of detail required, and it's not something you can take shortcuts on. So we employed Willie and Philippa Purvis, who shifted up from the Gisborne region, and very competent couple, and so it's working really well. I enjoy the mixture of being able to get away out in the hills, and the cell phone doesn't go out here very well, so that's nice to sort of get away from the hustle and all the noise, clear your head sometimes, but then at the same time, I'm pretty excited about the opportunities with this industry, with the sheep and beef sector, and to be able to contribute along with a bunch of other folks, I think is a real privilege. We're quite focused as a business around benchmarking, so we also measure a lot of things. We use FarmX as a farm management software tool to measure pasture covers monthly. There's regular livestock weights going in all the time, and we also have electronic identification in the ewes. So we see that as a good tool to ensure we identify the good performers, but also, more importantly, with the ewe flock, identifying the lower performers, then basically exiting them out of the flock so we can lift the average. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of things that we really work on in terms of best practice, and also good genetic selection too with the sheep stud. We really enjoy that side as well. We've structured a business where we have a board structure, so the 3 shareholders each have a seat on the board, including myself. We also have an independent chairman who's our accountant, and just to sort of keep that independence there, so it's a board of 4. I operate as the managing director, and then we have a full-time farm manager here. So I get out probably 1-2 days a week to sort of get in and help Willie operationally on the farm, but very much when I'm here, that's his role to call the shots around the operational things in terms of what goes where. The ewes we have there on the hill are our commercial ewes with our Coopworth stud ewes mixed in as well, all Coopworths I should say. We rotate them around in the hills through the winter, a big mob, just about to mix the cows up with them and then march them around just to get greater pasture utilisation. About 10 years ago, I started purchasing rams off Ashgrove rams from David Hardles at Mangatoroto, and they'd worked really well for me over that 10-year period. And a couple of years ago, we had a conversation. He was planning after 40 years of breeding them and to actually to essentially look at selling. And so I was quite interested in taking that on. So did my due diligence, and it culminated in the purchase of that stud in January of this year. And so, yeah, we're quite excited to sort of take on that history and hopefully sort of take it to the next level. The clients essentially are based anywhere where there's high facial eczema issues and challenges. So we've got clients stretching down as far as Taumarunui, Gisborne, right up through into Northland here. We've got some of our commercial hoggets here and a few of the studs mixed in that have been to the ram. Kind of set up a new regime here, but I have hogget mated in the past on my previous property. So the plan is to mate our hoggets as well, and they're obviously our youngest, best genetics. So if we can start sourcing replacements out of them, then we can speed up the genetic gain. As the sheep come through the sheep handler, we've got an EID panel, and what we do is that records the weight of the animal. At the same time, we put a hand on the ewe's back and condition score it from a scale of 1 to 5, and then we also record that in on the indicator next to the animal. At scanning time, we put the scanning data in next to the animal as well. And so you start building up quite a picture of who the good performers are and who aren't. It's not the cheapest machine, but it does save quite a bit of labour. With the raceful sheep handle, we can crutch through it as well, so it's a bit of a general purpose machine. And then you can do other sort of animal health treatments on it as well. We use that sort of as a benefit. When I think about it, we've only got, in my farming career, I've probably got another 30 lambings. And so there's only 30 more times to get it right. So the more that we can learn from, what we're doing on farm and sort of learn more in a year, that means we'll become better farmers all the time. So just that monitoring really informs you as to which are the good performers, which aren't, what sort of management practices you're doing works really well and what doesn't. So I think that's invaluable information as long as you have the time to look at it. So the U-hoggets went to the ram at 45, wasn't it, Will?
Yep.
45 kilos?
Yep.
Beef+Lamb New Zealand, I think it's an important organisation to help contribute to a thriving and vibrant sector. Obviously there's a lot of organisations that contribute to that. Our focus is very much behind the farm gate and also just in market around promoting the product and market access work. So, certainly in my tenure, I'd be really keen to see, our sector lift its game. I think we do fall into the trap of looking over the fence and blaming, external factors for our performance. Yet there's still a lot of opportunity that as individual business people we can drive greater profitability. At the end of the day, in my view, if you've got a more profitable land use, you should go for it. But my observation is a lot of sheep and beef farmers are looking at dairy conversions particularly, but they're not really looking at the numbers. Oftentimes they'll put in water systems, they'll borrow about $5 million from the bank and put in a whole lot of infrastructure, capital fertiliser, regrassing, laneways, and then surprisingly they produce more product and make more profit. So, if we just actually took some of those disciplines, including sort of regular pasture monitoring and weighing livestock and better cash control, and you might find that those same sheep and beef farmers would be top 10% sheep and beef farmers if they actually applied, say, $300,000 of capital expenditure in their own business. At a big picture level, in my view, we need to be more connected with the marketplace, understand particularly what consumer demands are. And with our current commodity supply chains, there's a lot of different points of ownership through the chain, a lot of information transfer goes from one to the other, right the way back to the producer who kickstarts the process. So, we need to get that a lot more streamlined. I think everyone would love to see greater collaboration. And to be fair to the processes, they are making some good gains in some areas, so around greater collaboration. But there's still a lot of room for improvement, as there is for sheep and beef farmers behind the farm gate too. We've got a lot of opportunity ourselves.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.